So, wow. Good morning, folks. I don't quite need these yet, actually. Although it's about 7 o'clock in the morning and it is really warm. Already the amount of heat in the sun is quite shocking, but it's just looking gorgeous down here today. If I do say so myself, I think the allotment is looking really, really nice. The fragrance is coming off this verbena and feverfew. So good. There's a few things that I want to do today. We actually have a few objectives instead of just muddling around. The first thing is I need to get some of these auto pots filled with their medium. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but the main objective today is seeing whether or not I've actually managed to grow any harvestable potatoes. So we'll see. I'm not holding out much hope. This probably isn't ideal, really, when you pot things into your auto pots. I'm going to talk about these properly later in a dedicated video, but these auto pots come with a 15-litre pot, and normally what you would do is you'd take your relatively small plant, and when it's time for it to go into its final pot, that's when you put it in here. These are already in what was meant to be their final pots, but this was a bit of a last-minute thing, so it shouldn't be too big a deal. But some of them are in 10-litre pots, some of them are in 7.5, so the switch up to 15 won't actually be that dramatic. But the big difference here is that you can't just use compost. You need something with lots and lots of aeration. So I'm going to be going for a 50-50 perlite compost mix. Should have used a bigger bucket. This was really silly. It didn't seem worth getting the whole bathtub out. The other issue, well, the main issue with this really, is that the potting mix that the peppers are already in does not have that much vermiculite in. So I'm going to hope that the roots haven't grown too much, and we're going to have to disrupt them a bit and get off some of that potting mix. Not ideal, but we're giving it a go. It's a bit of an experiment. This is a very strange thing for me. Very much used to having kind of 10% vermiculite, so having 50%, just strange. Not vermiculite, perlite. Looks a bit like Oreos. Like, the combination is making me hungry. I'm a little bit nervous because this is the point where we need to probably take off some of this existing mix. Oh God. Holy crap. I was not expecting the plant to be this developed with the root system. That is going to be your new home. Sorry for the disruption. This is my gochu, my Korean pepper. And this one was actually planted much, much later than the rest as well. So it's really surprising to see the root development. I'm going to get the rest of these potted on, and I'm going to get them supported with some canes as well. And then I'll show you how it looks. There we go. Sometime later, we've got 4 auto pots potted up. As usual, it took a little bit longer than I expected. And I do just want to say as well, this isn't really an endorsement of auto pots. This is just the start of a trial. I'm not saying go out and buy these. I'm not going to put a link in the description or anything just yet. And this is a really suboptimal way of setting them up. So if the results aren't brilliant this year, it's probably because I left it far too late to actually get hold of one of these and pot up these plants. I've done them a bit of a disservice, really. The melon will probably be okay. That one was not growing so well, and I've just seen the first little melon. But I'm going to put these in the greenhouse. Then it's spud time. You can see this is what they're going to sit on. They've got that little grey valve there. And one of the things you're meant to do is, once you've potted them up, is basically water them in really well and then leave them for a week before you turn on any of the plumbing or the auto watering. So I've still got a little bit of time before I need to do that. Maybe worth mentioning as well, I think one of the supporting methods that works best for chili peppers is getting kind of 3 canes, making a little triangle, but then trying to angle it outwards a little bit. You want them to grow they grow like a cone, you know, as opposed to a cordon like a tomato or a melon. They want to kind of bush out naturally, but if you just have a couple of strings going across, that will support any branches which get laden with pods if everything goes to plan anyway. Looking really, really good in here. I can't wait to get this plumbed up and see how it goes. Potatoes. Can you even tell that there are spuds planted in here? It's not been particularly successful year for the top growth. We've got 2 rows of first earlies here. I think this is Red Duke of York, and the plan was to leave those until they turned into kind of baking potatoes. And then the 3rd row there is Charlottes, and then we get onto the main crop. The main crop are looking much better. This one at least still has living plants, but this 2nd row, just nothing at all. So I'm going to dig this up and see what we've got. Dear me, there's a nice lily. Oh, I should say as well, in terms of detail, I think these went in around the middle of March, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. They had, this bed was just kind of quickly dug over, and they did have some chicken manure in here as well, some chicken pellets. So, well, I don't know, maybe drought, but they have actually been watered as well, which is not something I normally bother with spuds, but this has been an exceptionally dry spring. So let's just have a look. Well, there is something. Oh, they do not look good. Oh God, what the heck? The ones that are here do not look good. Yeah, wow, what? What? Even the ones that are here just look completely ruined. Is that slug damage, or I hope it's not wireworm or something like that. I've never, ever harvested a potato like that was damaged. Sometimes they get a slight slug nibble, but wow, it's got holes in and everything. Okay, we'll pull this whole lot up anyway, just to have a look and see if any of these are salvageable. Goodness me. So, wow. I'm just lost for words. Look at this, I can feed millions. Not a single edible spud. I mean, basically I'm just digging these up at this point so I don't end up with loads of spuds growing here next year. But we've learned some lessons about either the quality of the soil. I mean, it is very dry. It could be drought, but it also looks, I mean, these even look scabby. Everything that is wrong with these, everything that could be wrong with these is wrong with them. I say everything that's wrong with them. There are probably other pests that you can get, and they've not been blighted, you know, they're still firm. But yeah, just utterly miserable. This is the best potato from that line, and it's covered in scab. Scab is normally pretty harmless, but wow, let's do some more. See if there's anything I can actually eat in here. So, not particularly surprising, but yeah, it's not good. So this is, on the left, what I've just dug up. There's a couple of volunteer earlies here. Wrong colour. These are the dead ones. I mean, they're just going in the compost, really. Nothing to eat on those. These ones are looking a bit better, and the big difference I can see, is that the soil for this row is actually quite moist, whereas this one was really, really dry. So I am wondering if maybe this is just drought. You saw in the time lapse I got the hose out, and I'm going to water what is left. I'm going to take out this 3rd row as well here, because this just looks appalling. That one, I'm just going to give a quick weed of the big things and give it a water and see if these Red Dukes of York do actually do something. Because those plants, they're tiny, but they're still alive. They're hanging in there. And some of these look okay. One of them is mouldy, which I can't find it. Where is it? You can see there's like a line of mould in here. And I wouldn't expect to see a mouldy potato in drought. You know, drought is the main issue. Why would it be going rotten? Really weird. Just not good. We're just gonna see if these Charlottes do pull through for me, because we're having a barbecue today, a nice Saturday barbecue. It's one of the reasons I came down really early, and I want to get loads of harvests for the barbecue. I was really looking forward to early potatoes for a nice fresh potato. Oh, look, we've got some. These are edible. They're potatoes. That's all you want, isn't it? Ah, good, very good. You know what? From a disastrous start, I've actually just got a small handful of potatoes. It's not much, but that is enough of a serving for today's potato salad at the barbecue. So what I'm going to do is water the rest of these in, because these shallots, they look like they're still growing as well, that kind of third row. I'm going to give them a really good water, and just hopefully they will do a little bit more growing, and we might just get a little bit of a better crop. But, you know, this was a fairly low effort bit of ground. Just quickly turned it over on a new allotment. Not brilliant, not terrible. You know, it could have been a lot worse. I am a little bit surprised though. I was expecting better, especially as I say, you know, I gave these a pretty decent chicken pellet feed. One thing that is a bit weird, I've accidentally buried them all. Forgot any examples? Yeah, one really weird thing as I've been digging these up, I've noticed a lot of the stems are really kind of contorted and they spiral and spin round. And a couple of the times there were kind of 2 or 3 of these kind of like really wrapped around each other, and just, I don't know, it doesn't look like a sign of healthy growth to me. Does that give any clues as to what might be going on here? I think it's probably just lack of nutrition and drought, lack of water. But this one, at least, these King Edwards, always my favourite, always seem to do best for me. These are doing okay, and we do have some on the third plot as well. So what I'm going to do now, because it is getting really hot, I'm just going to go around and harvest basically as much as I can for today. There's a big harvest due. I'll show you what I got. I've just been going around doing a bit of harvesting, and I've just picked my first green bean, and oh my goodness, I thought I'd just take a little bite and see, you know, are they nice raw? Can you eat them raw? Absolutely delicious. I think this one's a real baby, but when they're like this, they're so sweet. I can't wait to show you what I've harvested. It's finally happened, folks. We finally got a proper allotment harvest that I've actually got to get the trug out for. I've just taken this gorgeous head of lettuce. This is one of the butterhead. I think all year round, really nice. Maybe slightly over. We've got just a small handful of kind of these fine green beans. I think I've harvested these really early. I picked a few that were really small and then realised that they get really long and they're still not beefing up. So I wasn't sure whether to pick all of them and hope that the plants set out some more flowers and you get a kind of successional cropping from them. I'm really not sure. So I've left lots on. Please do let me know in the comments. Loads and loads of broad beans. These look really good and delicious. I wasn't sure what to expect from broad beans, but I do really like them. Double podding, well worth it. A few small beetroot, but these are just perfect. Kind of sliced. You do kind of a bit more than quarters, kind of slice those into 6 and just roast them, and they are, they're so good. And we've got a really nice attractive mix of bread and kind of traditional coloured potatoes. I'm really pleased with those actually. It's not loads, you know, it could be better, but as well, this is a bit naff, but I've pulled all of the shallots, and some of these kind of divided and started growing a little bit. Some of them did nothing at all. I think what I'm going to do, see that's a good one. Well, it's not a good one, but it's good for that bed. So what I'm going to do is just, even the small ones, just probably pickle all those. It's nice to do something with them rather than just composting them. But I'm over the moon. It is quite late in the year, but finally the allotment is properly productive. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. An extra special thank you to all of my patrons and my chili pepper tier patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael. Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Craig. I really cannot do that without counting it out. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you as well for all of the really lovely comments on my last video. I was expecting it because you're a lovely bunch, but thank you. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you again